Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fire and Lily. So it is currently June 26, 2023. I won't be releasing new Spotify episodes like this one until the fall time. I just want to catch up with my YouTube videos. So it's kind of cool because I get to talk about like a lot of stuff in the future, but like that's going on right now. And so right now I'm going through a lot. Like, I'm moving again. I've been here for about 8 months, and it's been nice, but also at the same time there's just been a lot of stuff happening, just with the place where I'm living. Just seems like one thing after another, and I just I'm honestly a little worn out, and I need my home to be a safe place for me. Somewhere consistent, because we all know the world around us is anything but consistent. Change is the only thing that's guaranteed. But yeah, it's been a process, and I've been trying to work on my relationship with my mom, and that's been a shit show. My birth mother's an alcoholic, and it's really hard because I don't know, like, just yesterday, like, before, like, so I'm gonna be moving in 3 days, and she's been helping me, and then yesterday, she was talking about, like, how we have a bad bloodline, and stuff like that, and I said, no, we don't, maybe the last few generations, but great-grandpa and great-grandma were good people, and she just jumped down my throat with a fucking blade and, tried to tear me up on the inside, and I had some people stand up for me, which I really greatly appreciated, and in that experience as well, I saw how she turned all of that from my direction to one of the people who helped me, another woman, and just to watch it go from me to her. I mean, she definitely turned up the intensity, but it just really opened my eyes to what I've been experiencing. When it's your mother, it's a lot harder sometimes. You don't really get to see it from an outside perspective, and I'm really happy that I see it clearly and I understand, and it's definitely really tough. And I called her today and I was like, I just wanted to, like, I had the guts to be like, do you hate me? Like, are you mad at me? Like, you said you'd help me, and then now you don't even want to help me, and like, it doesn't even matter to you. And I mean, I can figure it out on my own, but don't make promises that you can't keep. You've already done that enough times in my childhood, and it's just, it's really difficult because it's a up and down road, and I've been making a lot of big moves. I've been wanting to be in a place in my life emotionally, mentally, just every part of myself ready to really put myself out in the world and be consistent with my art projects or anything that I'm working on, because I've always struggled with abuse and the lasting effects from that, and being highly sensitive to everything and emotional beyond even comprehensibility. Even now, like, I get tastes of it sometimes, and I can't believe that used to be my reality. I can't believe every day when I open my eyes and I close my eyes that I felt like that I was experiencing that. And I didn't know any better, but I did. I had memories faded off in the distance from someone who left the earth in 2006 when I was 9, And one of the things I So they had the car show here, and I used to come down every summer with the car show with my adoptive parents, and I actually took work off this Saturday because I wanted to. I had a feeling they might come down, and if I saw them, I wanted it to be on my terms. And I was really scared and everything, and I thought it would throw me off. And I truly believe that there is, whether it's a higher power or just a bigger plan, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the best way to look at it. There's a bigger plan to everything, and it's kind of cool how those things work because we're given opportunities. I went down to the car show. I was nervous as hell, but I had to know if they were in town or not. And I saw some other people I knew, and they told me that they were there. And now I can't see very well without my glasses. I can't see distance, so I knew the car, and I went there. My adoptive father was there by himself. My adoptive mother was in the market, so it was honestly a good thing I wasn't working, because that probably would have played out just how I imagined. I didn't even know what I was gonna say when I walked up to him. I didn't know what to say, what to do. I mean, the last time we spoke, I spoke some really harsh truth to his wife about him and some of the stuff he had done, and so I was nervous. But we both were able to sit calmly and have a conversation, and there's things in there I needed to learn regarding all this other bullshit I'm dealing with, regarding the thing with my foster brother who was Heather's son, all that stuff I've slightly touched on the topic of. They were involved, but they weren't really good people, it's, the best way to describe it is you can watch a movie when you're younger, or before, let's just say you've learned a lot, or you've had a lot of growth in your own psyche, whether it be emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to name it, whatever experience, but it's a perspective shift so big that it changes your whole identity. And that happens with growing up too, but it's like watching a movie from that younger perspective and then watching it again as an adult. You understand things a lot more differently, you see them differently, and that would honestly be the best way to describe it. I mean, it was really confusing for me because I saw certain things differently, but also at the same time I realized I've always been confused with a lot of people in my life because I've dealt with a lot of wide variety of different abusive people in so many different ways and shapes and forms of abuse that, especially being a child and being placed in the care of abusive people or an abusive person, whoever, you have that confusion within yourself because people are telling you that they saved you or they're helping you, yet they're not there every night at the dinner table watching what happens. They don't have to go through the conflicting emotions of wanting to beat the hell out of someone, but then also knowing at the same time and having them tell you that no matter what you do to me, I could do to you way worse, when all you're trying to do is protect your sister, But see, that's also another confusing thing, because when that sister grows up and she also views it differently, trauma affects people different ways and different things, and her story is not mine to tell. But what I can speak about is the experiences that I experienced in that hell. But long story short is I'm going through a lot of changes, and I've done it by myself a long time, and I feel like I've said this many times, especially on here. But I was really hoping that I wouldn't have to, and I'm not saying I will. I know that, like with my birth mother, I am learning that I was told something yesterday, and like it was a new perspective. I never looked at it, it was very similar to what I went through with my addiction with my last ex before I moved home. And anytime the substance ran out or even came close to running out, like that's when things start, right? And I didn't even see it, I didn't want to view it that way. I didn't want to think about it that way because that's my mom, and I don't want to feel those things. I don't want to view her that way, but it's hard when someone continues to show you over and over again who they are, and it gets more and more confusing because you want to think that that's not their true personality, but yet they're so consistent with things, and it's a struggle, like it's confusing. Like, I'm grateful for the support you gave me, but when it comes down to crunch time and there's 4 days left and we're back here again, like it just makes me feel like I'm a little kid all over again, all the sweet nothings being whispered in my ear, the dreams, and even now when we talk about the childhood that I had and we shared because you were my parent, it's all filled with long lost dreams and goals and guilt trips and confusion and anger. But another confusing thing is when you yourself have come to a place of peace with your past, and you realize that you can't go back and change anything, not even the smallest thing. You can't go backwards. However, people tend to use that as a denial tool of, oh, I didn't do that, let's not go back, a form of toxic positivity, if you will. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very optimistic. I love life. I find beauty in the smallest moments, whether I'm walking down the street and it's a butterfly or an ant or, a bird, like anything. Like, I've realized that letting it go didn't mean it didn't exist. Didn't mean that it's not going to be talked about sometimes, or that feelings aren't going to come up. But it's how you support yourself and others when those things come up that's truly important. One of the biggest things for me when it came to healing myself and letting it go is probably the best way to put it, is I knew that if I held on to it the way I was holding on to it, like, it would take so much from me. It had already taken so much from me. And even recently, I've been able to let so much go. And being in my hometown and clearing out all this space from the last 15 years plus, I'm having memories of being a child and being happy, with the world around me, with people, having memories of doing kid things, drawing, and, I do a lot of those things now, but I forgot what it was truly like when I was a kid, because I guess one of the things that I'm truly grateful for is one of the things I had to accept was I never got it before. I never got the opportunity to have a semi-decent childhood with stability, even, my foster mother who passed away, she was the closest I had to that, and it wasn't perfect. I'm sure it was far from perfect. But she loved me, and she loved my sister, and, she tried to protect us, and, there would be these moments that I've been able to look back and read in her own handwriting. And read that she was struggling with the fact that I was struggling, that when my birth mother would come to visit me, and I'd get really confused on who I could call mom, and she would always tell me, and she even wrote it down, and I do remember that, and it's always been there, but I didn't know, and I didn't connect the dots until I read it. And she would tell me it's okay to have two moms. My heart's big enough for two. I mean, hell, my heart's big enough for more than two, and I can promise you that I took that with me throughout my life as I adopted people into my family. I called them mom, dad, grandpa, grandma. She taught me my heart was big enough to love everyone fully and truly, every relationship I've ever had, I've always given them my all as if I had never given myself to anyone else. And that doesn't mean that, I didn't have my struggles or my triggers or my trauma. And, sadly, I did choose quite a few men with similar characteristics. And when you put that in the mix with trauma, it can be hard, it can become a really tough spot that, again, is very confusing because you're so focused on the fact that you feel like it's your fault, that it's your triggers, your trauma. But then in reality, you look back and you understand that and you can take full capability, but then you also recognize that what those people were doing was also not okay. They were, I have heard that we get comfortable, with certain people, and some people, they get comfortable with a certain routine or, certain place, certain clothing, outfits, food. And then another thing is certain people, whether it's the way people talk or the way they hold themselves in a conversation, or maybe it's the way that they talk about the things that inspire them. I am more drawn in by that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm attracted to the mind, and I morphed from someone's heart to their mind, and I'm still working on how to do it and figure it out, because the heart was a tricky one, because I used to look at myself, and even when I reflect back, I wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. I've hurt a few people in my own life. I'm not gonna lie. people that are close to me, people that weren't close to me. You know, I had a lot of trust issues. I mean, I never went out of my way to directly attack someone, discredit them, because, I mean, I know what it's like, and it's a very complex thing to talk about, and it's something I'm still figuring out. It just happened to me yesterday with my birth mother, how she spoke to me and, yelled at me and just all this stuff that I didn't recognize until someone else pointed out to me that, I had gotten really quiet or something. I don't remember correctly, but no, wait. After it had all kind of come to a head, and my birth mother left, I didn't even know where it started. And it started because I was trying to say my great grandparents were really really good people, and apparently I didn't know them, and I wasn't even alive to know them. And just I felt the whole situation just tore me to pieces in so many ways. Someone else commented to me that they noticed that I get quiet, or I try to stand up for myself a little bit. And I don't know, it's difficult and frustrating and confusing, because when you're aware of how easily someone can go off from even the smallest tone of voice, wording, even just engaging with it, it's a scary process, and it took a lot, because even, with my birth mother, I met some friends through her that I've known for quite a while now, and, they've been really supportive, and I feel like I've developed a friendship with them, each individually, but also as a whole, and it took me quite a few months of walking on eggshells with my birth mother, just to, get to a place of calmness with her, because every time she'd blow up at me or anything like that, everything would be stripped from me. I didn't feel like I could be their friend too, I didn't deserve to be their friend, because they were my mom's friends, and I'm not gonna lie, it was really heartbreaking, because you're getting to know people, and you're having great laughs, and spending time together, and it's hard enough, to make friends. I'm not gonna lie, I've always really struggled to find a good group of people, and it's been really hard, because it's just been me and my bullshit detector, and it took me a very long time to even figure out how to turn it on. And I realized, though, that I wanted to start fighting for my friendships, and if that means standing up to my mom a little bit more, or instead of feeling guilty and shamed that I'm not worthy of being their friends, and just allowing myself to fall to pieces due to my mother's actions and behaviors towards me, and just the sheer violence that can come out of that woman's mouth. If I truly were to sit there and base that and be like, that's who I am, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, one of the main reasons, I guess that's, I think, what I said when I started this episode, and, here we are 24 minutes later, but this is what we call a loop. You know, it all comes back to itself, and I just lost it. Oh man, I completely lost it. I don't know, guys. I realized that I am worth a lot. I am a beautiful person, and I'm just remembering what I was losing. So I took a long journey to get here where I moved. Now, it is, like I said, it's June 26, 2023, and July 9th, 2023 will be my 10 months clean and sober. And I never thought I would really struggle with addiction. I mean, I did, but I could always pick it up and put it down, and I couldn't this time. And I look back at my reality for the last 15 years, and the fact that I've only officially been an adult since I turned 19 here in Canada, and I'm 26. What is 19 minus 26? No, 26 minus 19. Let's see, do I have a calculator? Yes, I do. So, 26 minus 19 equals... Wow. I've only technically been a legal adult for 7 years. And let's go 2023 minus 2018. It's only been 7 years since I turned 19. I'm 26 now. In 2018, I started the journey of healing myself. I'm not gonna lie, it was for a boy. Well, like a guy, like, you know, he was a little bit older than me, but I looked at my life and, you know, I was like, this isn't the right situation I'm in that I would want to have a partner, you know? Like, I was living in a basement suite through home share, just really, it really wasn't good for me. And then it was 2018, when did I move in there? I must have moved in, like, the fall of 2018 into that house, and then it was in 2019, well, in 2018, during the summertime. Oh, I'm so confused. I'm not really good with my dates, but I know that in 2019 was when I left that house, and I moved in with my birth mother for the first time, looking for independence, and that was just a bad idea. You know, really just not good. But anywho, where I was going with this is I've spent the last 5 years working on myself. I wanted to be in a place that I could hold a conversation, whether it be with a doctor, a bus driver, a teacher, anybody. Even at the grocery store, I still struggle. But I used to fall apart by the easiest little things. Just my heart just shattered into pieces. So easily broken that just the slightest bit of air could just shatter me into a million pieces. Like, I was so broken, and my heart just wanted to go home, but my home was with my foster mother who passed away. You know, that she was my home, and I got really confused because I didn't think that, I didn't think I could still be here without her. I couldn't even remember her. It wasn't until a few years ago I remembered her for the first time, and it was her smile. But I didn't get to see her whole face. It was just her mouth. Just like kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Everything else, it was that. And then the memory of my sister breaking her arm at McDonald's on my birthday. And we're in the car, and she's, driving over the speed bumps as slowly as she can, and my sister's in pain. And, she loved us so fiercely. But those are the only two memories I ever had. And then, in the last 5 years, I've put in countless hours of just learning myself and how to be okay. And I know it wasn't until the last 3 that I really started to share it. And even at those moments where it looked like my life was falling apart and I was struggling, I know I was struggling, and I know my life was constantly falling apart, and I had no direction, and I was, the way I look at my life, where on the West Coast, where I've been since I've been adopted, is I've been in shark-infested waters with no one I can really trust. I didn't have any family. I only had the people who adopted me. I had, social workers, and then I had outreach workers and all these people. And I'm not gonna lie, when I got my documents from the ministry, I got to read case notes from people I met from when I was a child, when I was basically born. And from the first year I was in care at 6 months old all the way till I was 19. I was in the system in one way or another. And there are these certain particular people that I looked back at with a certain fondness of feeling like these were the people that actually heard what I was saying. I wasn't voiceless. They were the people that gave me hope to keep going, that maybe someone would hear me and know that I'm speaking the truth, and that just hear me. You don't have to save me. I'll save myself. I tried to save my sister. Just hear me, and repeatedly I had that broken. But like I said, there was a few people that I believed that did hear me. And then, I got the documents. Literally, this is only months ago. I don't know if it was before or after my birthday in April, but it's been this year. And I got to see the truth of these people, that the people that I thought were the ones that I could trust, they were also, they didn't hear me. It's a very disheartening thing. The time since then has long since passed, and so I'm almost grieving for myself at that age, even though I'm not there. And I've learned to validate myself. Excuse me, sorry, that was a hiccup. I've learned to validate myself and tell myself that I'm okay and that I will be okay. But where I was going with this is, even with everything, and even last year when I finally succumbed to addiction, I found the one that got me, you could say. Even back then, like, I was always leading with my heart. I was really being taken advantage of, and, you know, my ex at the time, like, that man watched me for a whole year before he came into my life, and he was my perfect Prince Charming. He was almost everything that I needed, everything that I had voiced and said that I had wanted for the last year as I was on my process, because I used to get excited and I'd share it with everyone and tell them, you know, I'm so excited, like, I've learned so much about myself, like, I know what kind of man I deserve, and I had friends back then, and when this man came into my life, he had been listening. He was someone that I didn't even think that we would ever cross paths in a way such like that. I just never viewed him like that. And then we did, and then, you know, I lost everything, and I was truly not safe, and I made it back home to my hometown, and when I first came here, I quit smoking cigarettes, weed, everything. And then I started smoking cigarettes again. And then I started smoking a little bit of weed. And then I found out my birth mother was in town. And since then, I have started to drink way more. I'm not gonna lie. I actually admitted something yesterday out loud to, you know, the group of people around me who were standing up for me, and, you know, I admitted to them, and I haven't admitted to anyone, even really myself, is that I feel like the only time my mom ever actually really wants to be around me is when there's alcohol involved, right? Like, the days that we don't drink, it just doesn't feel like she wants me there, you know? And it's just really hard, and I'm not gonna lie, I tried to keep up with her, and I tried to match her pace in the beginning, and I was getting drunk quite a bit, and I was really struggling. And then I found my own pace. And then I had had enough of my mom yelling at me and making me feel shitty. And, you know, so I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just gonna fucking change my life, and I'm gonna put my shit together. So anytime she yells at me, you know, I can be like, look at what I'm doing, you know? Like, I'm trying. Because she didn't care that I was trying. She didn't want me to try. She just wanted me to, who knows? I can't even put words in her mouth. That's not my place. But so I did it. I put my life together. I started building routine, and I started filling my life up with positive things. I got a really amazing job, which I absolutely love. I've been selling crystals, and then I did face painting. My last shift, I took this Saturday off, and then next Saturday for Canada Day, I'm going to be face painting. And I'm so nervous, and I don't want my mom to show up. And if she still hates my guts like she did, you know, the last time she yelled at me, she showed up to my work, and just, it made me really uncomfortable. And I mean, we patched it, but I don't know. I'm currently trying to find the balance between standing up for myself and trying to still maybe have a relationship to some degree or just realizing that she's not capable of that, and trying to figure out where to go from there. It's just frustrating. It's really frustrating. Like, one thing I just kind of said it the other day too, like, I'm just starting to, like, get the confidence to talk about these things that have been bugging me, and one of the things is, I hate being copied. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, whether it's hairstyles or things I say. I mean, it's even gotten to the point, where I'll start to tell my story, and then she'll jump in and start telling my own story for me, and I've had to correct her a few times on that. I've told her straight to her face. I said, every time you speak or share your story, no matter how many times you've said it, no matter how emotional and how much you can, like, completely destroy fucking a whole room of people when you share your story, like, and you don't really give a shit, and then you just get angry because you're drinking and stuff. Like, I sit there and I allow you to express yourself freely. I'm highly supportive of you expressing yourself in any way you want to, because I know what it's like to not be able to express yourself for years and years and years. And I just ask that same respect. And it's hard because I don't want to talk about anything new. I mean, I'll talk about my accomplishments, but even that, I don't want to talk about all the cool ideas I have, because all of a sudden, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've even had a few times where I've caught her changing the story. First it's I did something, and then it's we did something, and then it's I did something, aka not me, you know what I mean? And I mean, it's one of the hardest things for me, because I've been very vocal about one of the biggest problems I had with my adoptive mother. She was always competing with me, and I hated it. I mean, I was just talking about this yesterday, but, like, I literally have, I don't know if I still have it, but it was like a Valentine's Day card, literally from when I don't even have boobs yet. I don't, like, I'm so young, like, I'm 13 or younger, and it literally says on the card, right over my body and stuff, and it's like, oh, look, you have no wrinkles, or look at how skinny, or something like that. And fucking, like, that woman competed with me anytime I got passionate about something. It was nails, it was makeup, it was hair, anything that I got curious about and passionate about, all of a sudden she wanted to do it too, and then freaking she just chew me out and destroy me over it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, just recently, a friend of us asked us to help her do her hair, and my birth mother said she wasn't going to do it. So I was gonna do it, and I did do it, but then she kept coming in and, like, tearing me apart, and freaking, like, and then she's like, ooh. I don't know. I think it's just time that I make these podcasts really raw and authentic, like, going to no place that I've gone before. When I first started making this podcast, it was because I didn't have anyone to talk to, and now I do. It's confusing as hell, and I've got a lot going on. I mean, I'm dealing with some of the similar themes that I dealt with before with my safety. But, like, I'm doing things differently. I'm not gonna just sit down, at least before. The reason I didn't really step up for myself is it wasn't my hometown. It wasn't where I grew up, so I never took claim or anything from that. However, I'm home. This is my hometown. This is where I was raised. I fought a long way to come back here, and I will find the courage to stand up in the ways that I need to stand up in order to make a stand if I have to, in order to live here in peace, because this is a place that I want to settle down. I want to find my future husband, whoever he may be. I've already realized where I want to get married. I've never ever thought about that in my whole entire life. I've had glimpsing thoughts of it, but I've never had a solid plan. I've never had a really idea, and even though I haven't met that man yet, I've found the place. I want to get married, and I know where I want to raise my children. I know what I want to show them and teach them, and I know what I want to create for myself in my life. And for the first time in my life, because I know what I want, I'm making different decisions. I'm thinking about things differently. I'm not gonna lie, I'm currently my next big decision that I've been slowly working on is I'm 26. If I get a dog, that's gonna be 20 years, maybe plus. I'm not sure how, depending on the dog, and the different ages. It's been quite a while since I've had a dog. But I'd really like to get a dog because I would love to take it for walks and go swimming, and just we'd be a really great pal, and I think it would be really great for me. However, I'm also really wanting to have kids, and I'm with the way the world is, and just even my current finances, and looking at an attainable goal, and I don't know if I'll ever find that person, to be my husband and the father of my children. I'm not sure if he exists, and I don't know when or if he's coming, and it's not even so much waiting for that. I'm not, but I also have to make big decisions with my life and what I want, and chasing my dreams and my goals and fulfilling me and making me happy. I don't know where I'm going to go with all of this, but I know there's one place to start and one place to end. And I am so grateful for you guys for listening to this. And I am very excited. I think I might start recording more episodes like this and just let it out. I've always tried to have some self-restraint, because I know everything on the internet is forever, and I've been really terrified of family coming after me. However, if there's anything I've learned, is that the family that truly care about you and support you, they're the ones that don't care if you share your story. If anything, they want to support you in that. And it's the family that has something to hide, or is threatened by you speaking your truth. Now those ones will do everything to shame you, all the way up from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. And they may attack other things about you because they know that if they attack you and you lose motivation, I don't know. Who knows? But it's 2:22 right now p.m. on June 26, 2023. And I think I have everything for the day sorted. everything I was worried about, I feel a little less worried about, and I think I might go have some fun in the sun. I wish you all a very beautiful day.